That's Covenant, Tuesday, 3rd of March. We've got a fairly light agenda tonight, whilst that single item has got plenty contained within it. Apologies for absence. I think we've had apologies from Councillor Strachan, who's running late. No other apologies. Declarations of interest. Any declarations of interest? Councillor Farrell.
Yes, Chair. I declare an interest in my item because I am a Fazeley Town Councillor. So when it comes to the point of recommendations about that, I will withdraw myself.
Look, will you withdraw yourself during the discussion of that item as well?
Oh, if you wish it.
Brilliant. Councillor Cox.
Yeah, a declaration on the Lichfield Hockey Club, Lichfield Sports Club. I'm an honorary life member of the hockey club and a social member of the sports club. And if there is any debate on those items, I will recuse myself from the room.
Okay. Hopefully there will be some debate. Councillor Whitehouse.
Yes, thanks, Chair. I am a parish councillor of Shenstone Parish Council, and they are discussed in the paper here as an unsuccessful bid.
Okay. Should be all right. Thank you, Councillor Whitehouse. Any more? No. Okay, fantastic. In light of the declarations of interest, then, Councillor Farrell, do you want to lead us through the paper? Let's exclude debate on the Fazeley Town Council item for the Victory Terrace play area. Let's not discuss the hockey club or sports club. Let's get through everything else, and then we'll reserve those until the end, and then we can perhaps ensure that therefore Councillor Cox are out of the room to debate on those. So is everyone clear about that then? So we're going to debate all the items excluding Lichfield Hockey Club, Lichfield Sports Club, and Fazeley Town Council.
Happy to do that.
Over to you, Councillor Farrell.
Thank you. Yeah, it's an exciting report really, because we're allocating over £1.4 million of strategic SIL funding potentially to 12 applicants. We do this every year. I think it's worth reminding people who might be watching that SIL funding comes from developers. It's the Community Infrastructure Levy. So developers pay money into a big pot when they develop here in Lichfield District, and then we allocate that to good causes who apply. This year we applied a new infrastructure list to the scoring process. So the main four categories were healthcare provision, transport infrastructure, sports facilities and education. We reviewed lots of applicants and a good majority of those applicants we recommended funding to. The list at 2.1 describes where the proposed funding is going to, with the addition of 2.2, which is an in principle allocation of £300,000 to Burntwood Town Council towards the delivery of the Chasewater Pump Track project. That's subject to confirmation of location and land ownership. So once we've got a bit more information, that hopefully will go ahead as well. Yeah, all the applicants that are successful are in 2.1, including but not limited to £500,000 to Street Hay Parish Council, which is their community centre, which is much needed funding here from Street Hay, and that will go a long way to help with the funding of that community centre project. We've got £200,000 going to Chasewater Football Club towards the delivery of a changing room project. We've got just over £100,000 to Burntwood Rugby Club towards the delivery of their pitch enhancement and maintenance. We've got just under £100,000 to Fazeley Town Council, which I'll leave for the room to discuss shortly. We've got £80,000 to Burntwood Dragons and Phoenix Football Club towards the delivery of a conversion of disused changing facilities into a seated cafe, along with the DDA toilet facility, and plenty of other worthy projects below for your discussion. I'll open it out to questions.
Lever, thanks, Councillor Farrell. Presumably you are happy to take questions on both the process behind these allocations as well as the allocations themselves.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Councillor Strachan, welcome. Just so we don't get into any trouble, we are going through all the recommendations bar Fazeley Town Council, Lichfield Hockey Club and Lichfield Sports Club, as declarations of interest have been made on those. So we're going to deal with everything else bar those.
In that case, may I hop in and declare a personal but non-pecuniary interest in the Street Hay Parish Council as a family member, as a member of that parish council?
Yes, you may declare that interest. In terms of taking part in the discussion,
I will be.
think you're
guided
okay?
by-
Because that interest is under the other football interests, it doesn't take into account any family members, so it is just a personal interest. You'd be fine to say.
Thank you.
The avoidance of doubt, I've recused myself from any pre-application discussions and avoided it like the plague.
Excellent. Thank you. That was a fun Sunday night.
Yeah, for reasons of politics here and family politics.
Indeed. Right, let's open up to questions. Thank you, Councillor Farrell.
I'll go on our side. In the absence there. I'm really pleased to see this paper coming through to Cabinet, and certainly the variety of the successful bids that have gone through. If I could just ask a little bit, which is overarching each of those, about the decision-making process that's been employed to be able to facilitate those that have been successful, and equally for those that haven't on this occasion. So is there a little bit of information more? We can see that the Strategic Infrastructure Group, which is the body that has decided on those successful applications, has got 5 officers in it. Not necessarily having to name them, but something that gives us an indication of what has brought them to that particular group. Is it their directorate, just to make sure that's a fair and balanced one? And equally, a little bit through the process for the SIL evaluation matrix as well. So knowing in the past that I've sat on various committees here that has had opportunity to have oversight on that again, just so as we know that that's a fair and balanced process. So those 2 questions, if I may, to start, Chair, if that's okay, just a bit more information on those.
Yeah, so I firstly agree with you. I think it's really important that, you know, in front of us, we've got 12 really worthy funding projects. And I mentioned some of the high value ones, but you know, even if you go down to the bottom and you look at just over £2,500 given to Kings Bromley Bowling Club, that's to help them path renewal and some green reboarding. I think it's really important to them that that's a massive amount of money, just as much as the £500,000 to Street A is a massive amount of money for what they need. So I think I'm really pleased with the variety of groups involved here. In terms of the how it's allocated, I'm pleased to say I wasn't on that decision panel, and that was officers. So they score it based on the infrastructure list and their own scoring matrix. But I'll probably pass over to them to give you the intricacies of that.
Yeah, I just think it's worthwhile paying a bit more attention to that for the benefit of anybody who's watching, especially so that it's an applicant group as opposed to a councillor one.
So the Strategic Infrastructure Group is officers from a wide range of departments across the council. So we've got the policy team, got planning team, we've got environmental health representatives as well. And the subgroup is formed of those officers. So we looked at the application we received and made sure that we've got a cross set of skills across the organisation to cover that. So we got someone covering sports and leisure, we'd got someone covering the planning element, we'd got someone from a housing element and in the policy team as well. So they individually scored the applications, and then they met as a moderation group and discussed their individual scorings, and then agreed a moderated score for all those applications. And then there was further discussion with leadership team on those allocations as well, and the proposal was put forward to the cabinet member.
And the development of the evaluation matrix.
That's a published governance. That's published and that was approved with the previous cabinet papers. I can't remember what meeting it was, but that's an approved governance structure. So the criteria for assessing and evaluating all the applications is online for anyone to see. And when the application forms were sent out, it was very clear what the assessment would be, what the scoring criteria would be, how many marks could be awarded, etc. So yeah, it's a well-tested scoring and evaluation system we've got, and the moderation panel just sort of like test that out. And there's a good group discussion over, if there's a slight difference in score, to make sure that we're consistent in how that's been applied across all the applications.
And from my point of view, certainly looking at these, that impartiality is something that I think is absolutely crucial. And it's good to see that that's been maintained from when I first started looking at those metrics in various committees to where we are now. And if I chair, one last one from myself. In terms of those that were unsuccessful this time, I think it's also worthwhile noting that there is a new allocation opening in spring 2026. Might some of those be eligible to apply for those? I know the report suggests that they look at maybe potential other funding as well, but might it be that there's some opportunity for them to go back as well and have another look in springtime?
This is the proposal that we're going to open up because it was an annual thing, so we do want to do it more frequently. So we are proposing to open it April, May time. The infrastructure list requirement is staying the same. We don't revise the infrastructure list until the infrastructure funding statement, which will be later this year, with the same list of potential projects. So if applicants bid before, they're welcome to bid again. But of course, we will give feedback to all those unsuccessful ones about their applications so they can build on maybe where they didn't score so highly. So we'll be giving feedback to all of those, and that can be written form, but we will obviously have a conversation with anyone that wants it as well. So yeah, they're more than likely, they may well bid again, but obviously if we give advice over their scoring, then hopefully they might be able to address the point where they didn't score as high this time.
And that data is all available, as we've seen, between what's published as part of these papers and what's available online as well. So that's very open and transparent.
We'll open it up so it'll be new organisations that can be and existing ones. So we'll promote the fund as we have previously, and it'll be for organisations to apply to us.
Super. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Wells.
Thanks, Chair. That was my question, Alice, really, to Lucy and the team. I think you've said that the organisations can apply again, Lucy. Kerry. So I think you've said that they can apply again, the organisations that were unsuccessful, and they'll be notified as well. I just wondered what that process looks like. How will they be notified? Is it a sort of telephone conversation perhaps with them to give them a little bit of coaching, or is it, how do you plan to do that? Is it an email? Or because there will be very successful causes here, but there will be some disappointed people as well, and it's how that is handled, because to those people that were unsuccessful, they obviously felt it was an important thing to do. So I think that the process probably just needs to be to give a little bit of attention to the unsuccessful ones as we are the successful ones. So I'm just wondering how you will do that and when you will do it.
So Farrell, would you want me to answer that?
Oh yeah, I was going to say something. I thought Phil was looking at you, but I'm happy just to say it if you don't want to.
As I said previously, we will notify all the unsuccessful applicant. Obviously, we'll notify the successful ones, and then we'll discuss a grant agreement with them. But with all the unsuccessful ones, we will contact them, and we'll give them written feedback, and we'll say to them, if you want verbal feedback, we can arrange a time to discuss that with you. And then when we promote the new fund in April, there's always the opportunity for any organisation to have a conversation with us about the criteria and the application process, the application form. And we've often answered clarification questions by email and verbally with organisations as well, because obviously we want them to make sure that they understand the process and the application form, so they're able to complete it to their best ability.
Thank you, that clarifies it. Thank you.
If I can add, I think it's a really good point that there are quite a few projects here that haven't been successful, but if you go down the paper and you look at the officer scores and the officer comments, even though it's only a summary, I think that's really helpful, not just for those that haven't been successful, but for those that want to apply in the future to see what projects were successful and why they were successful. And I think that's a really helpful document. And I think councillors, if you have organisations in your area that might benefit from this SIL money going forward, I think you should definitely send them this document, because I think that it's really helpful to see where people have been successful, where they've been unsuccessful. And as Lucy said, you know, we're looking to hopefully do more, as much SIL funding as possible. There was, you know, a large amount of money actually that we've received, £183,000 in since the bidding window closed. So that'll be rolled over to spring, plus more money that as you know, developers come into Lichfield and we receive more funding. So there's always a kind of constant stream of SIL funding for groups, and it's really important that we share it out across the district to loads of different organisations. So I would encourage them to look at those scores and act on it.
Thank you.
Councillor Cox.
Thank you. Without going into specifics, what I am delighted to see is the number of clubs that we are awarding significant amount of monies to, well over £400,000 into youth opportunities, those that are supporting those children that are participating. And I think it sends a clear message that there's a lot out there in terms of sports groups and so forth that are really doing an absolute sterling amount of work with our young people. So I'm delighted to see a serious amount of money going towards that, because we're always under the illusion that there's nothing for our children and so forth, and yet there is an extremely amount of activities that are going around. It's about engaging in those activities. So I commend it entirely. That's where we're the kind of funding that we have given, because it is supporting young people.
I agree. Again, 3/4 of the projects that are successful have some kind of sporting element in them, and that's really important. But not like you said, there's a lot that goes towards young people, but you know, there's also sports for people of all ages, and that's really important. You know, from kind of football to bowling greens, and everything in between. So yeah, that's really really nice to see.
Yeah, thank you, Doug. I think most of the questions had been covered. I just wanted to sort of make a comment first, Alex. I think this might be the second time we've used this process for the allocation. I think it's working really well, in my opinion, and I think the set of projects and the sort of the range they show of what they hit, I think is fantastic. And we're hitting across a good part of the district. Good part of the infrastructure list as well. We're taking all parts of that. So I think the list it's good. Obviously, this is all, we can only go as well as we get with applications in the first place. And I think this time around, I don't know if we've done any more marketing on the actual SIL application people can make. But for me, there's been a much better set of applications this time around for us to select from. So that's really helped us get our list. So yeah, so I'm good. I'm good with the recommendations from the group. I think they work well. I did have a question, probably unrelated to this particular round, but just in general, but probably related to the next round actually, which is past allocations. And if I remember rightly, last time we allocated a significant amount of money to a new health centre towards a new health centre over in Burntwood. I think it was over £1 million, 1.1, 1.2. I can't remember the number. Now, obviously, whilst that's a really important infrastructure project for us to go ahead with, we also need to be minded that I know that project, for whatever reasons, has seen some significant delays in the construction of it. So whilst obviously that's an important project to go ahead, what we also don't want to see is a big chunk of infrastructure money being held for a project that may not occur, because that could obviously be, I think we talked about around in next April for more infrastructure money. So that would be extremely useful to put that to future rounds, because there's obviously lots of causes that need it. Do we have any update on that project, on the timelines? Have they figured out when they're going to be putting a plan application in, and how long do they have to start that project before we keep the money there?
Yeah, it is a concern. So we offered Burntwood Health Centre just over 1.1 million of SIL last year, and still money has to be spent within 3 years of it being awarded. There have been delays that concerned us, and they asked for a 6-month extension when they can spend the money by when it be completed to September 2028.
Yeah.
We wouldn't normally agree to an extension, but because it's really important to the people of Burntwood that they get this health centre,
Agreed.
we did agree to that 6-month extension. When they came to our overview and scrutiny meeting, they said that it was going to be put in, I think, by the end of May. They said their planning application, but I've since heard that they've had a board meeting and it might be delayed even longer, which does concern me. So I'd hand over to officers if they've got an update on that.
Thank you, Chair. So the latest I've heard from the from our planning service, excuse me, is that engagement suggests that they're now talking about late July or early August for submission for the planning application.
And obviously any delays are concerning because, you know, we've got to make a decision as a council what we do with that significant amount of money, but it's also really clear that what is well needed, and they've been asking locally for this for a while, and so yeah, I would imagine that the best thing to say in this stage is we'll keep on top of any delays, and then report back to cabinet if needed.
Thank you, Alex. I think that's perfect, and I think in the, as well, as you say, it's a very important project which we'd all like to see go ahead. So I think if we can push them as much as possible to say you need to use this money, I think that's the way forward.
Agreed.
Thanks,
Super. There's a quick question for me then, in terms of the, and it's kind of linked to Councillor Smith's question about what happens afterwards. It's all good and well allocating the money, but then obviously there's a time limit to get it spent, because obviously what we all want to see is these projects actually happen and come forward. Just in the still allocation timetable of 5.2, we say that grant agreements on the 27th of March, and then we have a progress update on the 25th of June. But there doesn't seem to be much between us sending the grant agreement and the progress update, and then anything beyond there that helps us keep them accountable. I'm just wondering, do we need to be a bit more stringent in our engagement with grantees to make sure that actually this is going forward? Because I know we've had mentioned the health centre. There have been other projects as well that have had to frequently come back for extensions. And whilst I think we all believe in the projects themselves that we've awarded the funding to, as we see, they're always oversubscribed. So every time that an organisation is sitting on a pot of cash that it's not spending on a project, it means there's another organisation that is going without. I just wonder if we should be beefing up our work with that, really.
Yeah, I think that's something I'll take away and speak to officers about. I think it's a combination of a few issues. So I know there were some groups that received SIL money last year that are struggling to spend the money, and they're desperate to, because authorities, for example, the county council, just to name one, are putting barriers in place to stop them spending the money that they need to, because possibly they want to spend something on county land, just to give an example, and county are pushing back on that. So I think it's really important that we as a council do everything we can to engage with people who get given SIL funding, A, to check that they're spending it, and B, to see if there's any help they need in spending those projects. Yeah, I won't name specifics, but I do know of parish councils that are desperate to spend this SIL money and they just can't do it. So yeah, I think that's something I'll go away and speak to officers about.
Right, so think what you were going to do now. Are there any more questions? Sorry. Could you? Well, actually, right, you're going to go out now while we discuss Fazeley Town Council, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
What should we move the rest of the recommendations first, though? So are we all happy? Are we content that all of the items there? Getting the look from Will that I haven't done that the right way, but are we content with everything that we've discussed? So we're excluding Fazeley and Hockey Club and Sports Club. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to leave then? So we'll do Fazeley.
See you shortly. Don't leave me outside too long.
So not even closed before we finished. Right, Fazeley Town Council. So this is the 99,454 to Fazeley Town Council was the delivery of the Victory Terrace play area. I know the play area. It's old. It's run down. I think there's been an argument historically that, well, it's fine, the town council can deliver it, that, for whatever reason, and made an application still. Any questions?
Just to support, looking at the evaluation and the comments that have been made there, following that process, there's a strong evidence of need. The town council is also contributing as well, and the exit upkeep, and more to the point, the applicant owns the land. So I think going on from the conversations where we've just had, where projects have been stymied,
Yeah,
that we can actually do something pretty quickly there. So I'm fully supporting.
brilliant. Councillor Cox.
Yeah, I'm very supportive of it. I think it's clearly stated by Janice. I think we should most definitely.
Councillor Whitehouse.
Well, I was just to add to that. Yes, I support that, but overall, this is exactly the reason why, one of the reasons, key reasons I became a councillor, to offer the ability to help so many different causes throughout the district. And it's great to see that we're able to put this into practice. And this is one of the highlights to me of the year, to be able to do this and make such a difference to so many worthy causes. So I fully endorse that.
Brilliant. Okay, so
I think very quickly from me, I endorse everything that's just been said, and this is exactly what we should be looking at. Given what's in the narrative, how did this only score 74%? Is it only hindered by the lack of match funding? Is that what drags the metric down? Because this seems to be exactly what we're aiming at.
Having a quick read of it, I'd say yes.
Okay.
That's probably what
It's just the match funding that drags it down.
indeed, but 74% is still a very good score.
are we all happy to approve that allocation? Phase? Brilliant. Okay, brilliant. Bring Alex in. Go on, Coxie. You can go.
Oh dear.
Sorry, Councillor Cox.
That's all right. In fact, the hockey club on the Amiens. So it's
In the naughty corner.
Alex, you can do these then. So it's the 60,000 to Lichfield Hockey Club and the 36,000 to Lichfield Sports Club and Valeview Crown Green Bowling Club. Yes.
Excellent
Any
project.
questions on those two projects?
Fully endorse.
And just another comment, having been able to visit there in many different capacities over the years, to see the numbers of people that are going and using those facilities of all ages, gender, is an impressive piece of community activity. So again, fully supporting both of those.
Brilliant. Super. Any other questions? No. I think you get back now. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Let's vote on that. We're approving it. Yeah. Sorry. And so far, you should be, that's the Paisley Town Council, to Lichfield Hockey Club and to Lichfield Sports Club. For good order, are we content with all of the other items that we discussed earlier on as well? Are we all in favour of approving?
Yes.
Brilliant, fantastic. Right, so that's recommendation 2.1 dealt with. Alex, do you want to take us through recommendation 2.2?
Yeah, so this is just to approve an in-principle allocation for 300,000 to Burntmoor Town Council. That's to deliver the Chasewater Pump Track project, which I think is, again, a really sought after project locally and something that will be really important to the area. We just have some confirmation of location, land ownership to get sorted. Hopefully that'll be sorted very quickly and we allocate the money. And if that's not sorted, I assume that the 300,000 would go back into the kind of general pot to be allocated next spring.
Right, yeah, this spring.
Or next spring, both.
Let's do this spring. Yeah. Any questions on this item?
I think I did read on there that there's a 6-month time frame that's also being applied to that particular one. So what you're just saying there about potentially reusing any funds, I think there's 6 months that's being applied to it, which I think is appropriate. Not least because, again, of what we've said previously, when we know that projects are stalling, especially where we are, or the applicant isn't the owner of the land, that gives us more opportunity there to do something about it. So I think that's appropriate.
Yes, completely agree. But I'd really like to see this project go ahead if we can possibly make that happen.
100%.
Councillor Whitehouse.
Yes, thanks, Alex. I just wondered if you've got any further information. We've got 300,000. Do we know the total cost of the project at all there?
That's a good question. Total cost is 300,000. Yeah, so they've requested what the total cost is. So if officers want to shed any more light on this, if you go down to page 13 of the report, you can see a summary of their comments. But is there anything else to report since this came out?
No, but that is the total project cost, yeah.
Okay.
As that assumes that the land is being provided
Yeah.
free of charge, isn't it? So
Yeah.
that is the challenge with this. And I think we're looking to our partners to step up to the plate and provide what they're being asked to. Councillor Cox.
Yeah, I think it's right to, and support the recommendation in principle of the application. Again, I think it sends a clear message that we are prepared to invest in our young people. And this, it has been well publicised, it has been well supported from what I can gather. So I think it does, in a sense, if to use an expression, maybe the meat on the bones regards to it, that we'll see the fruition of it. But obviously understand that it's not an open-ended offer. We would have to look at it to be sure, but hopefully it allows them to listen. So I am supportive.
Any more on that then? No, in which case, Alex, I think you've got that recommendation and one more, and then we're.
Yeah, there's that one, and then 2.3, which is for the cabinet to recommend to council to add the budgets totaling 1,476,000 funded by SIL to the MTFS capital programme 26-27 to fund those allocations.
Right, if you're in favour of 2.2 and 2.3, yeah, that's unanimous. Fantastic. Thank you very much, everyone, and thank you to officers for all the hard work that you've put into that. I know it's not as simple as just running through a spreadsheet overnight, so appreciate all the hard work that you